Hey, it's Ryan with an early ice update for Big Stone Lake. We're at the first part of December and checking out most of the lake today. What I'm seeing is about 6 to 8 inches. I've started at the south end, checked a couple spots down there, went all the way up about 2/3 of the way up the lake today, checked a few spots all the way up towards that area. And for the most part, everything I saw was about 6 to 8 inches. Really, it was mostly around that 7 inches of ice. The least amount I found was 6 inches. I'm sure there's areas on the lake, a lot of times when you get by the islands or long tapering points, you'll sometimes find some heaves or you'll find open water that may have been kept open by waterfowl a little bit later than normal. So you definitely want to give points and areas around the islands kind of a wide berth this time of year. You always kind of want to check that ice out first before you go over it. For the most part on the lake right now, it's been just foot traffic. There's guys going out a couple hundred yards from the area landings, mostly just walking out. But as of today, I'm starting to see some wheelers go out on the lake. My plan is this week is I'll have my sleds out here, but as I go out, I'll be checking the ice as I go along because this time of year, Big Stone Lake can be a little bit inconsistent. So I'm definitely going to keep the ice picks on me. Keep the cleats on me because we've got some real glare ice right now. There's no snow on the lake, but you'll definitely want to be careful going out with the heavier equipment at this time. Looking at the forecast, the long-term forecast looks good. I see some single digits in the nights, not really getting above freezing during the day over the next 10-day forecast. So if the ice is going to shape up nicely, we're going to see some big gains here over the next few days. Starting off with the perch fishing, typically this time of year, I'm still going to be relating to the basin. Most of my perch fishing out here relates to the basin, but when I'm in early season like we are right now, something I always like to check out is deep rocks that push right up to the basin. Wherever you can find that fine edge, a lot of times that seems to push the schools real tight together along those deeper edges. You'll find it in about 12 feet of water or so. But getting along those edges can be real good. And a few baits that I like to use right now, you know, a gold tungsten jig with bugs on it is just a staple on Big Stone. It works year round out here. But a couple other ones that I like to use is a plain hook and a minnow, like a plain hook and a fathead. That can be a great way to catch fish. A lot of times you'll catch your biggest perch on that rig. The other thing that works well is if you're getting a lot of little fish, something that I'll throw down is an 1/8 ounce rattle spoon, like a little buckshot or a little neon lights rattle spoon. Just cover it up with bugs, put it down there. A lot of times it'll keep those smaller fish at bay for a little bit and let the bigger ones come in and take it. As far as big bluegills go, a lot of times you'll be finding those in similar areas to the perch. Now you can find them out in the basin. You can also find them in that basin adjacent to rocks and a little bit shallower water, those edges. But I'll be looking for those right along with the perch. As far as baits for the bluegills, you know, a lot of times you're just catching them using the same thing that you're using for perch. But if you want to try something a little different, a little tungsten fly can be a good way to catch them. Tungsten fly and bugs puts a lot of big bluegills on the ice each season. A little word of advice to new fishermen that are coming out to Big Stone for ice fishing, perch and bluegills, is most of the fishing is going to be kind of centered around the basin. And when I look at the lake, I look at the basin as kind of one of two areas. You're either in the middle of it or you're trying to fish the edge of it where it adjoins up to structure. And early season, I like to get on the edges. That seems to be where I can find the best bites. But a lot of times when you have a cold front come through, you'll find yourself going a little bit off of the structure farther, a little bit away from the edges and getting more towards the main basin itself. When you do look for fish out here in those areas, a lot of times you need to cover some water. And the schools can be pretty large. They can cover a big area. They're not real difficult to find. But what I like to do is move, you know, a few hundred yards, quarter mile at a time from spot to spot, kind of working my way north or working my way south down the lake looking for a new school. There's a lot of schools of fish in this lake. You don't need to be grouped together with a bunch of other fish houses to catch fish. In fact, it's probably in your best interest to find your own fish out here. That's how you're going to do the best. So don't be afraid to go out, drill some holes, try some new water. The lake is wide open right now. There's no snow. We're going to be building quite a bit of ice in the coming days here. So I think this next weekend will provide some prime opportunity for guys on wheelers and sleds to get out, chase down some good perch and big bluegills out here. Good luck fishing.